Baseball is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. It's the second of 3 for the Royals and the Tigers, and it's game 8 of 10 on this long road trip. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the ballpark with Rex Hudler. I'm Ryan Lefevre. Joel Goldberg, Jeff Montgomery are coming up. Well, we wondered if there would be any letdown because the Tigers and the Royals are not both chasing the Central Division title. No letdown for the Royals last night.
No, because they're on a different mission. They want to win one more game and get this series. That would make it back-to-back series for the first time since '03. They're on a mission, no doubt.
And their chances are very good with Johnny Cueto on the mound tonight, our Honda most trusted player, making his second start as a Royal.
Tigers know he's tough, but by looking at these numbers, he only gets better. First time through, heck, 215. That's really good. But it gets a little tighter second and third time through. He's a wonderful executioner as his pitches. We're looking forward to watching him go tonight.
And Cueto trying to extend a string of very good pitching performances for the Royals against the Tigers this year. Danny Duffy extended that last night, and Joel and Monty will have more details when we come back.
Between the Royals and the Tigers at Comerica Park. Joel Goldberg, Royals Hall of Famer Jeff Montgomery, right down by the Royals dugout on the first base side. And Monty, last year the Royals did not pitch well against the Tigers. An ERA over 5, the rotation just under 5. The bullpen actually was over 5 with an ERA. How about the difference this year? What have they been able to do?
Well, I think two things come to mind of pitching: focus and execution. And the Royals understanding if they're going to knock off these Tigers, who've been at the top of the American League Central for the last 4 years, they have got to execute pitches. And they came into this season knowing that good pitching was going to beat the Tigers' good hitting, and sure enough, it's played out during the course of this season.
And so the rotation ERA has been great. The bullpen ERA has been excellent. And last year they allowed 18 home runs to the Tigers. This year, just one of them. And they have added Johnny Cueto to the mix. Happy Cueto Day. The second start for Johnny as a Royal coming up next.
Lottery. Every ticket you play gives back to schools across Missouri, so play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. And by your Kansas City Chevy dealers, visit your local Chevy dealer for great prices on all the new 2015 vehicles. This is game number 8 on a 10-game, 11-day trip. The Royals are 4-4 against the Indians, the Blue Jays, and the Tigers. And Ned Yost will go with the same lineup tonight that produced 5 runs on 12 hits last night, which includes Ben Zobrist taking over the number 2 spot and Mike Moustakas batting 6th. And the Royals will see for the first time left-hander Matt Boyd, who has allowed 5 home runs in 6 2/3 innings.
Numbers don't look too good for this young man coming into this game, but however, you never know. He's got to be able to execute. He's not overpowering. 88-93 with his 2 and 4 seam fastball. He likes to sink his fastball. Sliders down and away to the 2 lefties that Ned has in his lineups. Changeups will be a key pitch for him against righties, but he's going to have to be able to pitch inside to be successful.
And the defense behind him. Tyler Collins is in left field tonight with Anthony Gose in center, J.D. Martinez in right, and then Castellanos, Iglesias, Kinsler, and Marte around the horn. James McCann back to the plate for the 24-year-old Matt Boyd.
See that defense, you talk to people around the Tigers, they like their defense. They said it's really good, but compared to the Royals defense, where we're plus 50 run saved, I mean, there's a big difference. But their defense is much improved. Gose, the center fielder, is a very good athlete. He gets to a lot of balls in the center.
Alcides Escobar had a hitless game last night. He did help set up a run with a sacrifice bunt. 1-1 against Matt Boyd. Royals only had 2 starters of the 9 who did not have a hit last night. Another balanced game offensively. Matt Boyd is out of the Toronto Blue Jays organization, a 6th round pick 2 years ago out of Oregon State, and is a brand new Tiger. He was one of a few players coming over from the Blue Jays in the deal for David Price. Well hit. Deep center field, but there's a lot of room out there for Anthony Gose, and he runs it down for the out. Marty Foster is behind the plate. That is the crew chief. Mike Winters, he's at first. Mike Malinsky is at second base. Mark Wegner at third. You are not allowed on this crew unless your first name begins with an M.
A lot of veterans out there for sure. Royals hitting .271 off southpaws this year. 62 doubles, 23 homers.
Good pitch to Zobrist. No balls, 2 strikes. Zobrist 1 for 4 with an RBI last night. The RBI coming on a sacrifice fly.
Looks like this young man Matt Boyd has a high 3/4 arm slot. Means he's up on top for the most part. And that's a knock. It's not overpowering, so if he misses out over the middle, he could be in trouble. That's a sinker. It's sunk right over the middle of the plate. Zobrist was able to turn on it. Zobrist hitting .333 against lefties. Lorenzo Cain stepping in now is hitting .361 with 5 homers against southpaws. So when you're not an overpowering lefty, number 1, and you're young, never faced this team, number 2, you better be really careful with your command and location, because the Royals are hungry.
0-1 to Kane. 0 for 5 last night. Put an end to a 7-game hitting streak.
Maybe Zobrist gets a one-way lead. That's a maximum lead. Not going to try to steal second, but then maybe you can milk a move and see what kind of move he's got over there. Sometimes the first guy that gets on against a lefty you've never seen before, you kind of want to see that move, even though you have a scouting report on it. It's different when you're out there live.
A little bit inside, 1-2 on Kane.
And the secret for a left-hander that's never faced a team before when it comes to holding a runner is to not give away your move until you have to. Keep them guessing. Keep them wondering what kind of moves he got. Well, if you don't show it to them, now they're still hesitant about stealing, maybe later in the game.
No swing. Mike Winters making the call at first base.
Change up there looked like it had a little late fade away from the righty. Royals are going to do the same thing against this guy Boyd that they do with Verlander or anybody else. Just look for mistakes. Look for him up.
Funky move over to first, but Zobrist saw it all the way.
Yeah, he had a little hesitation there, a little pause move.
We have grown used to this, a little extra drying compound around first base. They did it today because it rained all day. No, it didn't. They just put that there because they want to try and slow down the Royals. Drying compound after 2 consecutive perfectly dry days in Detroit.
Yep. Could be for aesthetic purposes. I don't know. But we checked it out last year and they said it's same for both teams. Slows you down, slows us down.
Zobrist runs. Kane strikes out, and Zobrist is thrown out. Matt Boyd faces only 3 in the top of the first. Johnny Cueto takes the mound for the Royals when we come back. Season offensively, but against the Royals they've had a terrible time scoring runs. They have played 8 games against the Royals this year, and in 6 of those 8 they have scored 2 runs or fewer, and you figure that's not going to get a whole lot better tonight as they will face Johnny Cueto, and it'll be the second time this year they face Cueto. They saw him in June in Cincinnati.
Yep, they saw him, but not many guys have a lot of plate appearances off of him. Victor Martinez has the most in this lineup. He's 0 for 6. Johnny Cueto 4 and 2 seam fastballs, 90 to 94. Curveball, slider, cutter, change. Throws all of his pitches to both sides of the plate at any count. And different looks. He's got the quick pitch. Sometimes he over-rotates his hips, works fast, and throws strikes. What more can you ask out of a guy?
Sped up his delivery, goes, pops it up. Moustakas to the side wall and has just enough room. And then goes. He just kind of stood in the batter's box stunned and even kind of looked out at Johnny Cueto as if to say, what was that? Well, you better be ready for that when you're facing Johnny Cueto.
Good focus by Moose. I agree with you, but that play was big. You know, if that goes in the stands, expends a few more pitches. So Moose was able to get to the rail as the ball from a left-handed bat was coming back towards the field. Good concentration.
Strike to Jose Iglesias. Tigers only had 5 hits last night. Iglesias had 1 of those 5.
I like the way Iglesias competes. He's not an easy out. He's having a good season, and he hits a ground ball. He really gets it to first base. Hustles hard. 0 for 2 in his career against Cueto.
Well, he's going to be in good shape if he gets the Tigers to swing at pitches like that. He may have been hit on the hand while he swung at that pitch.
You wonder, sometimes when you're a hitter, you commit to swing before the pitch is even on the way. So he was overcommitted already and just swung at it. Hopefully he's all right. All right, this pitch comes right at him. It's a running 2-seam fastball. And it looks like he didn't get hit in the hand. He got hit in a very tender spot.
Well, much easier for us to say up here in the booth, but when it's all said and done, I think it's better that he was not hit on the hand, because swinging and getting hit on the hand at the same time with all those little bones in your hand and your wrist and your fingers, that could put him out for quite a while.
Oh, there's no question. Hitters don't want to get hit in their hands, but look, the way it got him, that'll take him a while to catch his breath on this one. Sometimes, he's a shortstop, so you know he's wearing a protective cup. At least you hope he was. While he's hitting, I never knew any infielders that would take their cup out when they went to hit.
Well, the worst part for him is that this at bat is not over.
Yeah. So if you're Cueto, you throw the same 2-seamer in on him. But we don't know what's going to happen here. Glad he's going to be okay to finish the at bat.
They're trying to speed up the game, but there isn't one guy out there that is upset with Jose Iglesias.
Oh.
He can take all night if he wants to get back into the box. Pulled just foul. Salvador Perez wanted that slider down and away. still 1-2.
Cueto gets tremendous movement down with his pitches, especially the changeup, slider, curve, all those pitches. His cutter's effective. And when you face a guy from the windup, you get all those extra gyrations, quick pitches.
Escobar, one hop, and what a stop by Hosmer.
Talked about Iglesias, the way he hustles, and even after that unfortunate foul ball, he's still making it tough, and Escobar made a nice play on that. Lorenzo Cain, 16 defensive run save, tied for third best in Major League Baseball. Center field is 420 here at Comerica. He can roam that territory for sure. Escobar knew he ran quickly, so he had to get rid of it. Hosmer, incredible soft hands. Saved another error. He's got more time here. See how he took his time? That's why you know the speed of the hitters. Good job.
A 9-pitch, 1-2-3 inning for Cueto. Includes priority for every potential postseason game played at Kauffman Stadium. You can purchase any 10 of the remaining regular season home games, plus make a deposit for 2016 season tickets to receive postseason ticket priority. And to take advantage, call 816-504-4040 option 2 or go to Royals.com/tickets. Eric Hosmer leads off in the second inning. That was a good formula for the Royals last night, as he led off 3 different times, and in 2 of those innings he led off with a base hit and scored both times.
And those were nice, crisp singles up the middle.
Breaking ball line to right, and J.D. Martinez is there to make the play. Kendrys Morales had an infield single in last night's game and a run scored. Fourth in the American League with those 73 RBIs. One and 0.
Interesting to see the Tigers shift. We got the 3 guys over here on this side, and the outfielders are playing to the opposite field. So Ghost is playing in right center.
1 ball, 1 strike.
So that tells me they're thinking with Boyd's two-seam sinker, he's going to roll over on the ground if it's in and down, but if it's up and elevated, he's going to drive it to the opposite field.
1-2. Now with 2 strikes, second baseman Kinsler thinking that Morales by a little more defensive at the plate. He moves back to the right side. Coming in from left is Collins, looking up into the sun, and takes care of Morales. Time for you to tweet your strongest fan photo. Use hashtag KC AT DET StrongFan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. Once again, hashtag KC AT DET StrongFan. Now Mike Moustakas with 2 down.
Moose, a .248 hitter against lefties this year. 5 doubles, 3 homers. There's his overall numbers for the season. Nice.
That ball's hit very hard into deep center field. Ghost is back. That is over his head and up against the wall, 420 feet away from home plate. Moustakas with a double is in scoring position with 2 down.
Again, there's a Royals hitter that's looking for the mistake, and he got it, and he didn't miss it. Last night, Verlander was successful. High fastballs against Moose. Not tonight. Moose, he barreled that.
And now the Royals catcher Salvador Perez, who had the biggest night of all the Royals, 3 for 4 with a home run. He had gone 16 games without a home run, and he drove in 3, and Sal's next home run will tie his career high. Flicked foul into the seats off the right field side.
High fastballs, looks like that's what he's using to set up the changeup to righties. McCann, the young catcher, he's catching Boyd for the first time in a game.
One and two. Salvador Perez, just like his team, very good with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. The Royals have scored 42% of their total runs with 2 outs. Very dangerous with 2 men down. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Only 2 other teams in the league have scored more runs than the Royals with 2 outs. The Yankees and the A's of all teams. Breaking ball pulled to Castellanos. And that's the inning. Moustakas hits a 2-out double. We go to the bottom of the second with no score. And at Kauffman Stadium as you stock up on dollar hot dogs and peanuts for Buck Night presented by Visit KC. And then after the game, a great fireworks show courtesy of Hy-Vee and Pepsi. Buck Night and summer fireworks coming up this Friday against the White Sox. Royals.com, 1-800-6-ROYALS for tickets. Long road trip followed by a long homestand. White Sox for 3. These Tigers for 3 and the Angels for 4. A little bit outside to Victor Martinez, Tigers designated hitter. He drove in the only Tiger run last night. He was 1 for 4. Two balls, no strikes. Two and one.
Talking with Salvador Perez before the game about catching Johnny Cueto, he said, well, I got to know him as soon as he got here. We were talking for 2 days. They talked. They got to know each other. Salvi talked to him about his pitching sequences, things like that. So he got to know him, and then he went out and caught a side session with him. So he had a pretty good idea what his pitches were, what's he used with runners in scoring position. And I asked him how hard it was to catch a guy like him with different rhythm to his windup. He said he's easy to catch. And I said, really? Why? And he said, because he throws strikes. And that was it. He says, I said, what about that? I asked him, what's your favorite pitch of his? And he said, his quick pitch. So what really wasn't even a pitch, a particular curveball, slider, or change. It was just that quick pitch he uses.
Like that one right there.
Yeah, and I said, are you always ready for that, or do you call that? He says, no, he just decides when he wants to do it. It's all his rhythm. And I'm just ready. But I was impressed with the fact that he got to know him for a couple of days, spent time with him, talking with him, about his pitches, what he likes, how he with runners on and things like that. And Salvi, he's a student of the game. We all know that.
Pull to Moustakas. JD Martinez is out. Our Toyota League leaders. Most time this year where a team has allowed 2 runs or less. The Royals are 4th in the Major League, 2nd in the American League, trailing only Tampa Bay in the AL. Royals accomplished that again last night, holding the Tigers to 1 run, 5 hits. And a guy with a 2.70 ERA on the mound tonight, Johnny Cueto. A little bit inside to Nick Castellanos. Castellanos had the biggest night of all the Tiger hitters. He only had 5 hits. He had 3 of them, including a leadoff triple in the 7th inning, but he did not score.
That quick pitch really alters the timing of hitters. No question about it. That's a fastball right down the middle, but sometimes when facing Cueto, he gets in the hitter's mind with those different type of hip changes, changing of his rotation, of his hips, quick pitches. Therefore, talking to hitters today on both sides, including both hitting coaches, Wally Joyner and Dale Swain, I asked them, would you rather face Cueto from the stretch or from this windup? And not one player or pitching coach or hitting coach said they want to face him from the windup. All of them said, oh, from the stretch, no doubt, because he eliminates all that movement that he does with nobody on base. So it makes sense. But if you look at the numbers from the stretch, Cueto is so much better.
Escobar backhands on the fly, and just like he did in his Royals debut, Cueto begins with 2 perfect innings. So far, the Tigers haven't gotten the ball out of the infield against him. Royals have 2 hits in their 2 innings against Matt Boyd, who is making his Tigers debut. He'll get Rios, Infante, and Escobar in the 3rd inning. Rios had a 2-hit game last night, including an RBI double. Kinsler out from second base. 1 down. Royals' last 4 hitters last night had anywhere from an 0 for 10 to an 0 for 11. All 4 of them, and they all broke out of that. Mike Moustakas had a hit. Salvador Perez 3 hits. Alex Rios 2 hits. Omar Infante had 2 hits. So those guys are carrying a lighter load into the game tonight. Goes, backs up in center field. 2 outs.
Looks like the lefty's a fly ball pitcher from what we're seeing, all those high fastballs he's throwing. He's got a 2-seam sinker, but he hasn't been working that down in the zone very often. He's against all the righties. He's mainly throwing fastballs, changeups. Haven't seen the big curve yet. He's got an occasional curve he'll mix in.
Kind of puts you to sleep with that pitching motion too, especially when he's out of the windup.
It's got some deception in it. Once he comes out away from separating his hands and he leaves that ball down behind his back, he has a pause. There's a little pause there. And sometimes that little pause can sometimes throw that timing off to the hitter. But he's, for the most part, looks like he's been able to repeat his mechanics. He has a long arm swing. Sometimes those guys have a hard time repeating their mechanics. There's a breaker.
Tigers are hopeful to get Miguel Cabrera back sometime next week. He's been out with a calf strain that happened right around the 4th of July. Another fly ball. And again, it's to Gose in center field. 3 up, 3 down for the Royals in the 3rd.
Got to pop it up.
Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. By Panera Bread. Avoid the lines. Order online with rapid pickup at delivery.panerabread.com. And by your Midwest Ford dealers. Visit your MidwestFordDealers.com. Lower third of the order coming up against Johnny Cueto, beginning with Tyler Collins. Running to the line, and that is a fair ball. Play at second base, not in time. Collins beats the throw by Zobrist.
Long way to go for Zobrist and Moose. And ball just hugged the line. Zobrist came up with a very good, accurate throw. And Infante with his quick hands almost got it on him. Great throw.
Ned Yost had stepped out of the Royals dugout, but communication from Bill Duplessis was no challenge. So Tigers have their first runner. And now Jeffrey Marte, who's been filling in at first base while Miguel Cabrera has been on the disabled list. And Marte is going to bunt. And that ball came back fair. That ball was foul and it kicked back fair.
Never know, can't assume anything, but a great idea by Marte. He was able to move the runner after a leadoff double. And that's an inside fastball, and then it hit, like you said, it hit something. And Moose was ready for it, got the easy out at first, but he did the job, moved the runners. Now look at how, look at how far that foul that was, so you can't blame Marte for not running. That ball hit the lip of that grass and kicked right.
The Royals are going to put the pressure on the Tigers early in the game. They're going to bring the infield in with a runner at third, one out. James McCann at the plate. And a little liner out to Infante is out number 2.
Well, Ned, with the infielders in, Ned knows that Cueto's not going to give up many runs, so he doesn't want to make sure that they didn't get one there. McCann hit right to Infante, so that takes that worry away. Now they're going to go back to regular depth with 2 outs. I think the word's gotten around the Tigers dugout by them hitters. Better swing early. Get that fastball. Salvi's going to maybe throw something different here.
Anthony Gose bats for the second time against Cueto. Fastball is upstairs. Threw it by him. 1 ball, 1 strike. 92 miles an hour with that fastball.
Johnny Cueto has only given up a 176 average to lefties. And he's been really good with runners in scoring position with just a 210 average against.
Hit well to center. Kane was playing in. Kane can't quite get it. And Ghost can really run. He will end up at third base with 2 down. So after the big out, getting McCann with the infield in, Ghost drives in Collins to give the Tigers a 1-0 lead.
5th triple on the year. He got a good piece of it. 89 miles an hour. It looked like it might have been a changeup, but Rusty Kuntz, the outfield instructor, likes to play his outfielders with 2 outs in more shallow than deep. So you can't blame Lorenzo Cain because Rusty Kuntz is always down in that right side of that dugout, giving those guys instructions on where to play. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
1-1 to Iglesias.
Iglesias shook his head on that inside fastball, saying, I'm not going to swing at that one again. After that last fastball he swung at, hit it. He fouled it off his way in on him.
Moustakas backhands, throws low. Hosmer takes care of it, and that's the inning. Collins leads off the inning with a bloop double. Ghost triples, and the Tigers lead 1-0.
To June 2nd, the A's here at Detroit, and Ben Zobrist hits a grand slam. Check out the catch by the fan. An 8-year-old boy catches that. He is fired up and excited, and then he realizes what the other team just hit a grand slam. Ben Zobrist going to lead things off here with the fly out to right. This young man, 8-year-old J.D. Shilp, he catches the ball. I got a ball, and then, but the other team just took the lead on my team, and he was crying at that point. Well, Ben Zobrist met him today. He threw out the first pitch. Great meeting. There he is, James J.D. Shilp. Now, Ben had sent him a bat after that, and he had signed it. Maybe the hardest home run I've ever hit, and you caught it. Nice catch. And Ben, I talked to him today, said, well, I was impressed, one, that the 8-year-old could catch it. 2, that he's that loyal of a kid and understands the game, that he'd be that upset that his team had just lost the lead. And 3, that he protected his mom.
Good story, Joe.
Oh, that was great. He cried for a long time after that. What a heck of a catch.
Especially with that rail in front of him like that.
Mm-hmm. 2-0 to Lorenzo Cain. Matt Boyd struck him out with a changeup in the first inning. And now 3 balls, no strikes.
First time up, Lorenzo Cain worked to count to 3-2. And Boyd threw him a changeup that he swung through. Gotta believe McCann, this is the first time he's caught Boyd. Probably we're talking about the possible green light that Lorenzo Cain could have. He knows the numbers that Cain has against lefties. Really good. 361 coming in.
Three and one. Really got to get it tonight to hit it out there. The wind is blowing in, and Ghost makes the play. He's been busy tonight. And it's his 4th put out already. 2 down in the 4th inning. Coming up a week from tonight, that's our next student night and local music showcase presented by Inc. Magazine. You have a chance to mingle with friends. There's great food and drink specials in the outfield experience just for students. And live music from local Kansas City bands. Next Wednesday against the Tigers, music from Grizzly Hand. Tickets are just $8. You can get them at the box office or at Royals.com/student night. Eric Hosmer lined to right first time up. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Seven fly balls, 2 pop-ups. He's got the Royals to do tonight. Except for that, that's a beauty there.
Really doing a good job of using the middle of the field in this series. Hosmer's on with 2 outs.
Sure is.
Since July 9th, so almost a month. That's when Eric Hosmer got going, right before the All-Star break. Our Academy Sports and Outdoors leaderboard ranks in the major leagues. Highest batting average, 2nd best on base percentage. He lost a 14-game hitting streak in Toronto on Sunday. Now he's hit safely in the first 2 games here in Detroit.
Scalding hot. We know he's a strong second half performer. He's showing that.
And that ball's hit well to left center field. And that will roll a long way away from home plate.
He might get 3.
Kendrys Morales does have a triple. Hosmer scores. The Royals come right back and tie the game in the 4th inning.
Morales. That was one of the very few zeros he's had in his line. That's his first triple of the year, and he hit it in the right spot. I mean, he barreled it. There's no chance for any outfielder. Haas bringing the mail home all the way from first base. Morales checking in.
Last time he tripled was 3 seasons ago. And now Mike Moustakas, he doubled a straightaway center field first time up, and Boyd's first curveball is way outside, ball 1. Royals getting another run with 2 outs. Royals have scored 6 runs here in Detroit. 4 of the 6 have come with 2 outs. More of a slider that time. 1 ball, 1 strike.
That's one of the many characteristics that Ned Yost has instilled with his team and Dale Swain with his offense. Those 2 out RBIs, they really break the opponent's back, especially the pitcher.
Well, back into the crowd on the first base side, 1 and 2.
Another good characteristic, which I think is a better overall team number, is their comeback wins. They have 27. So that tells them whenever they get down in a game, nobody worries. They say, you know what, we're good. In later innings, we'll come back and win. That's another thing that makes this team so dangerous in their offense. They believe.
Two and 2. That'll be backing out of play.
I like Moose's approach. He knows he's going to get some fastballs up, that curveball that floats over, and he's looking to put him over that 330 marker in right field.
That will be in play. Castellanos to the grass, and that's the inning. With 2 outs and nobody on, Hosmer singles, Morales triples for the first time since 2012 to tie the game.
We see him drive runs in, but we rarely see him get a 3-bagger. Nice hustle, K-Mo.
The trading deadline, they did pick up Dustin Ackley from the Mariners, and after 2 games, he is on the disabled list with a herniated disc in his back, which might explain why he was having a bad season with Seattle.
Well, he was hurt before they traded him. Sometimes you can go to the commissioner's office and file for a player that was injured before the trade. Sometimes they can nullify the deal. I don't know if the Yankees would do that, but damaged goods.
1-1 to Ian Kinsler, while Matt Boyd has been a fly ball pitcher tonight. Johnny Cueto has been very much a ground ball pitcher, and he got Kinsler on a ground ball to short in the first inning.
Pitching coaches will tell you they love those pitchers that can induce the ground balls. It keeps them out of the air and keeps them from going into the stands as home runs. Cueto's pitches all move down, except for his 4-seam fastball that's straight.
That pitch was up and in, pulled foul. 1-2.
Ian Kinsler was one of the Tigers I asked if he would rather face Cueto from the windup or the stretch, and he said, I don't want to face him anytime, but if I had to, I'll take him from the stretch.
Two and two. That's lined out toward right center field, which is wide open. And now, how far will Kinsler go? So the Tigers come right back with a runner at third base and nobody out.
Kinsler found the gap to the opposite field on that rocking chair type delivery. See Cueto, he kind of rocks a little bit. He missed over the plate. 5th triple by Kinsler this year. Great swing.
With nobody out, the Royals will concede the run. And Victor Martinez at the plate. He grounded out to Infante in the 2nd inning. Ground ball out to Hosmer. He'll take it himself. Martinez gets an RBI, and the Tigers have regained the lead.
Tigers offense, they're not wasting any time on Johnny Cueto. They are swinging early in the count on him, being very aggressive.
Ball 1 to J.D. Martinez. He grounded out to third in the 2nd inning. And he's swinging at the first strike he sees. Escobar with a nice stretch from Hosmer. 2 down. Nick Castellanos lined out to Escobar in the 2nd inning. He has at least 4 different windups. He has what would be a standard windup. He has that quick pitch windup. He has that Louis T on turn windup, and then the turn and rock back and forth windup. And I'm probably missing another one. That's a lot to keep track of if you're the hitter.
Sure is. That's why everybody I asked said they'd rather face him from the stretch. He's more conventional. But, you know, if you look at his numbers, he's better from the stretch. And that tells me he's just got great stuff. And probably he's faced more hitters from the windup.
Castellanos down on strikes. That's Cueto's first. But right after the Royals tie the game, the Tigers regain the lead on Victor Martinez RBI ground out.
Angeles Indians tied. David DeJesus at the plate. Cody Allen, that would be a walk-off wild pitch. And the slide home safely. Not the only interesting walk-off of the day. Guys, the White Sox won over the Rays on a walk-off walk. The White Sox went single stolen base flyout and then intentional walk to load the bases and then a walk. Afterwards, Brad Boxberger saying, I don't really get walking Cabrera, but it's not my choice. Guess he didn't agree with his manager.
Kevin Cash would be his manager. Well, any benefit to saying that publicly?
None whatsoever. But you know what? If Mr. Cash has a problem with that, he can always address that. Call Boxberger in. Say, hey, let's talk about this a little bit. Sometimes in that manager's seat, it's pretty hot. Got to make these decisions. It's not easy. But there is no question that the game plan between McCann and Boyd in this ballpark was to throw high fastballs in the middle of the park because it's so deep. And it's working so far. It's paying off. You know, I talked to McCann before the game about catching Boyd. He's never caught him before. And I said, what is that like for you? You're a young rookie catcher and you're catching a lot of guys for the first time. And he said, well, some guys, I don't get in a rhythm till 2 or 3 starts. It's a high fastball working again.
Coming up next Tuesday, it's the 5th T-shirt Tuesday of the year. The Royals will be taking on the Tigers, and the first 10,000 fans receive a blue 7th inning stretch T-shirt courtesy of Sprint. For tickets, go to Royals.com/T-shirt Tuesday or call 1-800-6-ROYALS.
McCann was using a few examples of he caught Daniel Norris. He's another new add to their team, and said they talked about the game plan before the game, and it's like he'd caught Norris forever. And then he said some guys take longer, like Simon or Simone. Simon, is that the righty? Simon. He said he shook him off a lot. It took him 3 starts to get on the same page with him. A lot of shaking because they're not sure about what's working. I mean, it's not easy catching a guy for the first time in game situations. He says he goes out to the bullpen and he sees what their pitches are, and he finds out from that pitcher what's the pitcher going to go to when you get in trouble. That's what he's got to know. That's the most important pitch.
Castellanos to his knees and then dropped it. It'll probably be a base hit.
Had a hard time getting to his feet. I don't know if he would have thrown it if he'd have gotten Rios anyway.
And it is just now scored a single, so 1 on 1 out to Omar Infante.
That's a pretty deceptive move to first base. Shows you a little bit of head, a little bit of lower body turn. Looks like he's going home, and he comes over quickly. But this is the kind of lefty that you go on first move if you're going to take a base on him. And then he picks up his foot, you just take off. Rios this year, 7 for 7 in steals. Has not been caught.
A little different look, and he throws it away.
Could throw him a triple there. Beautiful. Royals will take that. Wasn't much Marte, the first baseman, could do about that when that ball was thrown into the runner Rios. Missed with it. Royals all year long have capitalized on opponents' mistakes. See if they can do it here.
Fonte a little better than the league average with a runner at third base and less than 2 outs, and the Tigers will hope for a ground ball and a play at the plate. They have the infield in.
See if they continue to throw high fastballs.
One and one to Infante. He flied out to center field first time.
That's the pitch you want to execute if you're looking for a ground ball. Got to keep that ball down. Slider, maybe some change-ups. But that high fastball, got to be careful with that in this situation here. You can get a sac fly pretty easily. Although J.D. Martinez has 12 outfield assists, which is tied for second in the league in right field. He's got a good arm.
That'll be out of play.
Gose has a very good throwing arm for a center fielder. He has a couple assists.
Breaking ball deflected by Boyd and out at first base. So Rios freezing on a ball back to the pitcher. And the Tigers get it out. 1-4-3.
Obviously, Rios sees the ball, and he wasn't going on exact contact, so he thought the pitcher was going to at least stop it. Decided not to go. We're talking about it. Sometimes that third base coach will tell you before the hitter even steps into the box. All right, I got the sign from the manager. You're going on contact. Anything on the ground, you're going. And then the other one is freeze on contact.
If I were the Tigers, I would be ready for a bunt. Alcides Escobar is 0 for 4. Make that 0 for 6. 0 for 4 last night. 0 for 2 tonight. So he wants to get a base hit. Boyd has been somewhat tough on the Royals hitters tonight.
Yeah, and you know, he didn't get the pitch. That was a big curve. If he gets a fastball up, that's an easier ball to push to the first baseman. You see where Kinsler is. Kinsler's way up on the pull side. Ooh, man, watch out. But he won't be bunting now, most likely. But see, Kinsler's not going to be involved in the play at first base if he pushes it to the first baseman, Marte. All he's got to do is pull Marte off the bag with good touch here, and he can walk into first.
2-1 to Escobar.
Change-ups and high fastballs are the best pitches to push bunt from a lefty. Change-ups is a good pitch because they always try to put that down and away, so you're going towards first as a right-handed batter. And the fastball, you can pretty much guide that a little easier. I think Esky wants to hit him. He wants to swing away.
He asked for time, didn't get it. And now 3-1. I think Escobar realizes, and Marty Foster was pointing to his left ear, maybe saying, I didn't hear you. Escobar probably was verbally asking for time, then put his hand up, but it was too late. Good changeup on 3-1. Full count.
He throws it 3-1. He'll throw it 3-2. Perfect spot.
Came back with a fastball. Toward the right field corner, J.D. Martinez is there. So the air looked like it set up another run, but Boyd pitches around it. The Tigers lead 2-1. To vote for the Royals Player of the Month at rallyhouse.com. You'll be entered to win a majestic prize pack from Rally House. Royals had the tying run at third base with one out last half inning, but Matt Boyd got a ground out from Infante and a fly out from Escobar. And now Tyler Collins, who led off the third inning with a double and was driven in on an Anthony Gose triple. Tigers have 3 hits against Johnny Cueto, all for extra bases, a double and 2 triples. Royals have a triple. Right center field, that's well hit to one of the deepest parts of the ballpark, and Rios makes a leaping play up against the scoreboard.
Collins swinging early. His first pitch he saw, he hit that double down the line. The young man's got some power too. And just hit it in the wrong part of the ballpark, or he would have got another run on the board for his team. Good swing. Rios, good focus, good concentration.
Fouled away by Jeffrey Marte, who had a bizarre sacrifice bunt in the third inning after Collins' double. He bunted to the third base side. It was rolling foul, but it hit the cut of the grass on the foul side of the third base line and kicked back into fair territory. Now he pounds one off of his leg. There's a great look at it. And Mike Moustakas took nothing for granted. Lucky that Marte stopped running.
Yeah, neither did Collins. Collins was coming all the way. When you're a young player, and this is your first or second year, and you face a guy like Johnny Cueto, all your friends and family, they expect an 0 for 4. So if you go 0 for 4, there's no big deal with Johnny Cueto. But if you get a hit or two off of him, then that makes you look good. You're like, wow, I got a hit off one of the best pitchers in baseball. So they're up there swinging.
And Marte is from the Dominican Republic, so his family and friends know all about Johnny Cueto. Close. 3-2.
Boy, that's a great spot. A few times Tigers have been able to get that ball out to the outfield for those extra base hits. Have been on mistakes that are up around the belt.
And that pitch was supposed to be down and away.
So after the third inning, when Cueto gave up his first run, he walked off the mound, shaking his head, talking to himself. And the same thing last inning. He says, that's on me. Those pitches aren't where I wanted them.
It's the first time he's pitched here. When he faced the Tigers in Cincinnati in June, that was the first time he'd ever faced Detroit. So on this mound for the first time in his 215th career start. That slider's a little bit high, and Cueto walks his first. James McCann, Tiger catcher, with a runner at third base and one out in the third inning. The Royals had the infield in, and he lined out to Infante.
James McCann, you'll be shocked who mentored him last year. I'll give you one guess.
Alex Avila.
No. Torrey Hunter. As he has done with so many players he's taken under his wing. He said, you know, young man, you're not necessarily competing against that pitcher. You're competing against the advanced scout who's sitting in the stands. And if they continue to get you out a certain way, believe that the next team you see, they're going to be doing the same thing. Because every team has an advanced scout out here. And they're all watching. So that's part of the one aspect that a lot of hitters don't think about.
Ground ball, that's past Hosmer. Marte will make the turn and hold as Rios got to it quickly. Well, the top of the order coming up with 2 on and 1 out. Anthony Gose in the first inning chased a pitch up and fouled out to Mike Moustakas, and then he got a pitch up in the third inning and he tripled to center field. The Royals had the outfield in with 2 outs. And that drove in Collins. And now he has Marte at second base and McCann at first.
Ground ball double play is what he's looking for here. Good pitch, working down. Ghost has grounded into 7 this year. Last night, he grounded into 1 to Moose over there at third base. They went around the horn and got him. It's a quick runner. He'll have to hit it squarely at somebody to do it.
Good location again, 0-2.
You like Cueto's tempo. He gets the ball, doesn't walk around the mound. Matter of fact, he just straddles the rubber and waits for the throw back from Salvi. Works quickly.
Struck him out. 2 strikeouts for Cueto, and that didn't take very long. 3 pitches to get Anthony Gose. Really set him up well there with pitches away and then fastball in.
Yeah, he did. That's a great location, some good pitching, and there's a wonder he's just given up a .210 average with runners in the scoring position since 2012. He's been one of the best.
Iglesias has grounded out twice, both to the left side. Once to Escobar, once to Moustakas. Cutters outside, ball 1. Two and 0 with Kinsler on deck. Got the inside. Iglesias on a couple of occasions tonight has not been happy with Marty Foster, the home plate umpire.
And that's late movement, man. Look at that. That 2-seamer really sunk. Iglesias doesn't believe it was a strike.
Up the middle, Escobar picks it off to Infante, and that is the inning. So Cueto gets around a 1-out walk and a single. Then Zobrist, Lorenzo Cain, Eric Hosmer coming up in the 6th inning. Hood from Kansas City, Missouri. If the Royals hit a home run in this inning, Tanya wins $1,600. If the Royals hit a grand slam out of the park, Tanya wins $25,000 from Sonic and the Kansas City Royals. With Ben Zobrist, 9 home runs, Lorenzo Cain 11, Eric Hosmer 11. If anybody gets on, Kendrys Morales 12. And with Ben Zobrist coming to the plate, let's go to Joel.
And maybe Ben Zobrist can get some money here for that fan. Now, we have noticed from Ben that you'll see that chin almost tucked into the shoulder when he gets to the plate. I asked him about that today, if that's something that he is trying to do, and he said he is not intentionally meaning to do it. He doesn't know that he's doing it, but he said that when he is going well, he is doing it. When he's not going well, if he watches video back, he usually is not tucking that chin. He said it's all a product, guys, of his hands being back in the right place and being turned with his eyes facing the pitcher. That ends up leading to that chin into the shoulder. When he's not going right, he looks and notices that's not happening, Hud.
Yep, no, it's really the right way for him. Like I said earlier, when Zobrist got here, a lot of hitters, they look across the bridge of their nose, you know, from their stances. And it's a little more pronounced. He does it from the left side, but other hitters like to get both eyes on the pitcher. Seems like they get a better look. But the combination of fastball changeups tonight has been really effective for Boyd. He's getting a lot of pop-ups in the air because of that high fastball, and we're going to change up down. Good game plan between McCann and Boyd.
And that is Boyd's second strikeout. Fox Sports Kansas City invites you to join current and former Royals players on the field August 31st for Diamond of Dreams. You'll enjoy a delicious menu from local restaurants, live music from the American authors, and a fireworks show, and it's all for charity. Buy your tickets now at Royals.com/Diamond of Dreams. Again, that's August 31st. Lorenzo Cain is struck out and flied to center field. No balls, 2 strikes. Third time to the order for the Royals. Again, trying to pitch up, but that is too high. 1-2.
See McCann pointing to his shoulder. Keep that shoulder in. You're flying open a little bit on that one.
By far his best major league start to this point. It's just his third, his first with the Tigers. He had a decent big league debut against the Texas Rangers, but then in his second big league start, the middle numbers there, he didn't get an out. Gave up 7 earned runs. Gose is back in center field. Another fly ball out. 2 down in the 6th.
The game plan between McCann and Boyd obviously is to pitch to that part of the park. And so a lot of high fastballs. His target's down low, but look what he's doing. He's up in the zone, and he's out over the plate, and he's saying, hit it as far as you can. I'll take my chances with Gose out there. He's going to run him down. So he's putting on a clinic on how to pitch to his ballpark. Now he could make a mistake later in this inning or next inning or so or whenever, you know, up and somebody can jump him. But so far he's been successful.
Hosmer reaching, and with those long arms, singles to right center with 2 down. Royals scored their run in the 4th inning after 2 outs and nobody out. Nobody on, and it was Hosmer who got on for Kendrys Morales.
You don't see too many lefties throw changeups to lefties, but that's what that one was, and it was on the outer half of the plate. most of the time they don't do that because some changeups from lefties move back into lefties, and they're afraid of that nitro zone. But that was a well-executed pitch. Haas just better hitting on that.
Oh, 0-1 to Morales. He tripled last time up. Morales hits a triple once every 3 years. Last triple was 2012. The triple before that was 2009, and those two were both against Max Scherzer.
Morales has homered twice from the right side of the plate, 10 from the left side. But this is the kind of pitcher here that Morales will try to wait, even with 2 strikes here. If he gets something up, take a shot to right field. He hits the ball all over.
1-2.
Especially those high fastballs he's trying to do. If Morales can get that top hand on it, he's got the power to get it out of here to the opposite field. And pull it too, obviously. But
got it in on him, but Morales muscles it into left center field. A dive and a miss by Collins, and that'll get Hosmer to third base.
Again, high fastball jammed him, and Morales was able to find a single out of it. Excellent effort there. Good try, keeping it in front of him best he could. Gross backing up. McCann having a little talk with Boyd. And those signs are in case Morales wants to steal a base. I don't think that's going to happen here, but he's alerting his infielders to know what he's going to do with the ball. That was McCann giving all those signs. He's going to throw it to second. Is he going to fake a pump throw? Is he going to try to pick off at third? That's what all those signs are. Now they're checking to see where they're going to play. Marte, he's off of Morales at first base.
Ball 1 to Moustakas. He doubled to straightaway center field in the second inning, and then Boyd got him on a pop out to third in the fourth. One and one. Pitch number 90 coming up here for Matt Boyd. One ball, 2 strikes. Pitch may have been a little high.
Yep, and it's too tempting. I mean, you know, he's not an overpowering pitcher, and so to a hitter, that fastball looks good, but that's really tough to get on top of. So Boyd's really pitching on that fine line with that fastball up in the zone.
Little slide step. So he sped up his motion on Moustakas, and it's Ghost, who has been the busiest Tiger on defense tonight. Royals lead 2 in the 6th inning. Kid's dealing. experience a night of the undead at Kauffman Stadium on Friday, September 4th for the first ever zombie night. So come dressed up in your best zombie attire and makeup and enjoy themed activities and entertainment throughout the ballpark. Plus, those who purchase the special ticket package will receive that one-of-a-kind Royals zombie bobblehead. So come dressed in your best zombie attire and makeup, not your worst zombie attire and makeup. I don't know if there's a difference between the two.
I think your worst might be good enough for a zombie.
Inside to Ian Kinsler. He leads off the 6th. He led off the 4th with a triple and has scored the run that is the difference in the game. Victor Martinez got him home on a ground out. Now 1 ball, 1 strike. Looked like a swing, and it was. Mike Winters makes the call. 1-2 on Kinsler. Two and two. Kinsler, an Arizona native, began his college career at ASU and finished up with Tim Jamieson at Mizzou. Sakis will run out of room. Still 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Again, Johnny Cueto. Fastball, curve, slider, cutter, change. Throws all of his pitches to both sides of the plate. Any count. Different looks. Pitching a good game, but the kid Boyd is really holding down his offense. Royals struggling to get Buddy in.
Still 2-2 on Kinsler. Right to Moustakas. That was an 8-pitch at bat, which is a marathon against Cueto tonight. 1 down in the 6th inning. DraftKings will show us the players to watch. Johnny Cueto and Matt Boyd on that list. Both have pitched well. Go to DraftKings.com, enter the promo code BRoyal to play daily fantasy baseball for free. Toronto Blue Jays have gotten home runs from Edwin Encarnacion, Jose Bautista, and Josh Donaldson. And they lead Minnesota 9-7 in the top of the 5th inning. At one point it was 9-3 Toronto, so Minnesota's making it tough. Victor Martinez has grounded out twice. His ground out in the 4th inning put the Tigers in front 2-1, and that's our score here in the bottom of the 6th. That'll be a foul ball. Similar outing for Cueto tonight as his debut on Friday at Toronto. Very quick first couple of innings. And then the Tigers tonight, like the Blue Jays on Friday, piling up the base runners in innings 3, 4, 5, and now batting in the 6th. Cueto had 2 perfect innings on Friday, and then the Blue Jays had 11 runners in the next 4 innings, and Cueto still finished with a quality start, gave up just 3 runs in 6 innings, and he left with a 6-3 lead, but the Blue Jays went on to win 7-6. Full count on Victor Martinez. Just foul, still 3-2.
See what he's done from the left side of the plate, and you look at that and you go, wow, that's not like Victor Martinez. It's because of that left knee has been bothering him, and that's that knee from the left side of the plate that you sit on, you get more torque on that, so he's a little bit gimpy on that side.
Right where Escobar was playing. 2 down. And now J.D. Martinez. He is grounded out to third, grounded out to short.
Talked about in last night's game how well J.D. Martinez goes down and lifts those pitches that are low. Ooh, good spot. He has the ability to take that bottom hand on the knob of the bat and go right directly and then lift it.
Foul ball got Salvador Perez on his left hand.
Well, that caught him on the thumb. Got a thumb guard protecting that thumb. It doesn't always protect it all the time. It's a hard plastic.
Two and two on Martinez, who just wore out the Royals last year. He had 446 against the Royals with 5 home runs. Broken bat and over Escobar's head. That bat went in the crowd. J.D. Martinez is on with 2 down.
It's like everybody's all right, but that head of that bat, it's almost like a spear. We're really lucky that nobody got stuck with it.
That little guy who's fully decked out in a Tiger uniform. Did he get it? No, the young lady in the row in front of him got that souvenir. That little guy, he's got his uniform on, he's got his helmet on.
Well, he had the helmet on to protect him in case he gets hit in the head with a bat. Good call. You know, we always talk about fans bring your gloves to the game. We never thought about bring your helmets too.
Castellanos has lined to short and struck out.
Talked about how Johnny Cueto from the stretch really hides that ball well. He keeps it behind his right thigh and he kind of rolls it up to his glove, not letting the hitter see the ball at all. And there he is from the stretch. And that's why more hitters prefer him from the stretch, because there's no hip turns or anything like that from the stretch, so they get a little bit of a more conventional delivery out of it. They see it better.
That's Cueto's second walk, so with 2 outs, Tigers get a couple of runners. And now Tyler Collins, who's had 2 of the best swings against Johnny Cueto tonight. In the 3rd inning, Collins doubled up the left field line. That was actually a bloop double, so not a great swing. But in the 5th inning, he took Alex Rios to the deepest part of this ballpark, one of the deepest parts of this ballpark, deepest right center field, and Rios made the play up against the scoreboard.
You know, he's got a short, compact swing. They like him. They like his power potential. He had 21 home runs in Erie. I believe that's an A ball or double A, and that was in 2013. Last year in Toledo, he hit 18 homers. So he's got some pop, especially for this ballpark, being left-handed.
Escobar was there. He's not very close to second base. But if Martinez ran to center field, he would have been out. Oh, 0-2 on Tyler Collins.
Good change up there. We'll see what he comes back with here. See if he can work it away from the middle. Right where Salvi's sitting is where you want to put it on this guy. He's dangerous.
Hits it hard, but Rios is there, so he's lost a couple of hits into the glove of Alex Rios. The Tigers strand 2, and at the end of 6, it's a well-pitched game on a cool night. Feels like the fall. Tigers lead 2-1.
Panera takes us around the league. Told you about Chicago, the walk-off walk. Los Angeles, the walk-off wild pitch. Toronto leading Minnesota in a slugfest 9-7, and Texas right now on top of Houston 4-0. Their monster game break takes us to Toronto. Can't cool these guys off. That's Jose Bautista. He's not going to run down the line fast. He's going to stare at that grand slam. He, Edwin Encarnacion, and Josh Donaldson have homered, but the Twins just put up a 4 spot. It is now 9-7. He look at that one a little bit?
Just a little bit.
Can't miss out over the middle. Not against those guys. He'll make you pay. Change up fastballs. What a combination. Have seen very few curveballs and sliders. Hard to believe that he could get through this long in the game against one of the best offenses in baseball with just those 2 pitches, but you got to tip your cap to this kid, Matt Boyd.
Right to the left fielder Collins. Tough hitting luck for Salvador Perez. Pitching effectively up and either in the strike zone or slightly out of the strike zone. 14 outs in the air for Matt Boyd. It is a cool night. It feels a lot more like September than it does August, and the wind is blowing in, and in this big ballpark, get away with that. One and one to Rios.
Got to give a lot of credit to catcher James McCann. First time working with Matt Boyd, doing a good job with that, talking about the strategy before this game. But you know, you can talk all you want until you go out and execute it. That's when it really matters, and he's been executing. Before this game started, I thought the Royals would get this guy out by the 5th inning. They would have got to him by now, but Kid McCann is really working with Boyd, keeping him in a nice tempo. Pitching to the big part of the field.
2-2. In the air. Kinsler out. He will take it in front of J.D. Martinez. 15 outs in the air for Matt Boyd. The Forever Royal Fan Express is stopping in Lincoln on August 8th. Brought to you by the Royals and Fox Sports Kansas City, offering you a unique way to enjoy a Royals game at Kauffman Stadium. Fans in designated markets will have the opportunity to win a trip to the K. Royals.com/Fan Express for more information. This is the biggest out right here. Or this hitter was the biggest out for Matt Boyd back in the 5th inning. Rios was at first with 1 out. Boyd tried to pick off Rios. He threw it wildly to first. Rios went to 3rd on the play, so the tying run was at 3rd with 1 out, and Boyd got a ground ball from Omar Infante, keeping Rios at 3rd, and then Escobar flied to right.
He started every hitter off this inning with his changeup.
One and two.
Doing an excellent job of keeping the ball out of the middle of the plate for the most part. Royals do have 7 hits off of him. With runners in scoring position, he's been good.
And really taking advantage of the Royals' aggressiveness. You know, the Royals have 5 walks in their last 8 games. and 0 tonight. So Matt Boyd facing the right lineup tonight, keeping the ball on the outer edges of the strike zone, a little bit out of the strike zone.
That'll tell you, all hitters capitalize on mistakes that are out over the middle. And if the pitcher doesn't make any mistakes, and he stays on the corners all the way around the strike zone, you're going to have a hard time scoring runs. That's what we're seeing.
On the ground to Iglesias. Excellent Tigers debut for Matt Boyd. 7 innings and gives up 1 run and gets a standing ovation. Wow, why not? He gave up 3 runs in 6 innings. Tonight he's given up 2 runs in 6 innings. Here are the sprint cuts of the game.
Very first hitter of the game, he got him to pop it up. We've seen his repertoire. Ground balls, different motions, Louis Tiant style, hip turns, quick pitches. There's only one thing missing tonight for Johnny Cueto, and that's run support.
Against Cueto in the 7th inning, the 8, 9, and 1 hitters, beginning with Jeffrey Marte, then James McCann, and then Anthony Gose. Jammed him and pulled foul. No balls, 2 strikes. Cueto's next pitch will be number 100. Rios is going to run out of room. Tigers got a run in the 3rd inning on Gose's triple. Royals got a run right back in the 4th on the Morales triple. And then the Tigers scored in the 4th with a leadoff triple by Kinsler. And then Victor Martinez got him home with the ground out, and that's it. 2 runs, 5 hits for the Tigers. Royals 1 run, 7 hits. 1 and 2 on Marte. Two and 2. That ball stays fair. It's a long throw for Moustakas in the dirt, and Hosmer does it again.
That's 2 saved errors by the left side of the infield tonight with that Golden Glove he sports. He stays low on that ball at first, but Moose, you know, he's got a great arm. So really, all you do is just throw it over there. You don't really aim because Haas is so good. You see how he uses that knee and he gets down low, keeps his glove on the ground and comes up. Easier to come up with your glove and make a pick like that and start up and go down. You'll miss it. Beautiful pick. That'll break a hitter's heart. He thought he had a hit. Way to show the gold. Flash it.
James McCann is 1 for 2 with a single. He's after the first pitch. Shallow center, and Fonte goes out to get it.
Quick pitch messed him up. Johnny Cueto, he'll throw that pitch. Talking to Salvi before the game, he said he doesn't call that pitch. Johnny Cueto, he does it, and Salvi's always ready. Watch this. McCann wasn't quite ready for that. Good location, too. That helped.
And now Cueto reminding his corner infielders that this guy will bunt. And this batter is Anthony Gose. Moustakas and Hosmer were already in. They know the scouting report on this hitter. And there is a bunt, and it's foul.
Just because the corners are in, they try to take that away from you. As a hitter, you look over there. But you know, if you're a good bunter, you say, I don't care. You got to be perfect. I don't.
Broken bat, and Cueto will take care of Gose. So Cueto in his second Royal start goes 7 innings and gives up 2 runs. Royals are down to their last 6 outs on offense. Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price every day. And by Thoroughbred Ford. For great deals on new Ford cars and trucks, visit thoroughbredford.com. A few changes for the Tigers. Most importantly, the Royals are done with Matt Boyd, who was outstanding in his Tigers debut, giving up 1 run in 7 innings. And Bruce Rondon is a Chevy call to the bullpen. And he brings a 7.24 earned run average into the game.
Yeah, opponent's hitting 296 off of him. Tune those bats up, though. They're going to see some 95 to 100 miles an hour from Bruce Rondon. Slider. He'll work in with there an occasional changeup.
Top of the order: Escobar, Zobrist, and Kane. And Boyd held those 3 Royals, the top third of the order, to 1 for 9. And there's a big change there. 100 miles an hour on Rondon's first pitch. Other changes: Alex Avila takes over at first base for Marte. And Romine is now at third for Castellanos. Right side base hit. And for the Royals, that is the first time all night they have had the leadoff man on.
There you go. Get that lefty that was dealing out of there. And great job by Matt Boyd, no question about it. But bring in something different. Royals like the fastball, and they love it hard, too. It doesn't really matter if it's out over the plate. They're going to hit it. The Royals, they're plus 44 from the 7th inning or later in run differential. That means they're scoring 44 more runs than their opponents late. And that's a good mark. They score a lot of their runs we've been seeing from the 7th inning on. We'll see if they can get something going here.
Ben Zobrist singled in the first inning against Boyd. He's 1 for 3. Fastball at 98 is outside.
I don't think there's a lot of Royals hitters that have faced Rondon in the past. Zobrist has faced him just once, 0 for 1. A little more pop from the left side from Zobrist. 8 homers. 1 from the right side, and we saw that in Toronto.
Took something off it. 1 ball, 1 strike. Only the Texas Rangers have a higher bullpen ERA than the Detroit Tigers.
That was a changeup. He's a lot like Herrera. Hard fastballs, upper 90s, and changeup around 88 to 90.
That's hit well toward the left field corner. Foul by a couple of feet. Blaine Hardy warms up in the Tiger bullpen, so Rondon may only get through Kane. And then after Kane, Eric Hosmer, Kendrys Morales, Mike Moustakas. The Royals have Kelvin Herrera and Wade Davis. Davis just starting to play catch. Herrera is getting warmed up to come into the game. But if the Royals were to take the lead, then Wade Davis would crank things up with a little more intensity. Zobrist fights it off, still 1-2. Well, that fits in with his new teammates.
Like a glove. Hopefully it works here. He's battling right here, fighting off anything close. Good short, compact swing. Perfect kind of pitcher for Zobrist. If you stay short to the ball, you got a better chance. A hard thrower like this guy. Fastball, changeup, slider.
Zobrist down on strikes. Escobar at first with one down.
Lorenzo Cain 0 for his last 9. He's due.
Escobar made a move towards second base and realized it hadn't gotten very far from McCann. 1-0.
Yeah, McCann has a really strong throwing arm. He's thrown out 42% of runners. That's excellent this year. This young man has taken this job and running with it.
Ooh, good swing. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Escobar with 8 steals. Rondon, he's quick home. And with a good strong arm from McCann, that's going to make it tough to try to steal a base here, but we'll see what happens. It's hard to ask your number 3 hitter to shorten up his swing and try to hit a little gapper, but you know, Lorenzo Cain, he's early in the count like this, he's going to try to drive one.
Not running, and Cain hits it out to right field. Martinez is there. Got fooled a bit by the spin on that ball, but makes the play. 2 down. Hosmer coming up, and we'll see if Brad Ausmus makes a move with Blaine Hardy in the bullpen.
Tell you, man, Rondon, the big guy, he gets that ball home quickly. I had him timed at 1.16. That's really an advantage for McCann, who already, we told you, throws out 42% of runners. So with Hosmer and Morales coming up, I wouldn't expect to see Escobar going. Anything 1.3 or above a good jump, you could make it most of the time if you're a good runner. But with Rondon getting that ball in there quickly and fast like that, and also with that miles per hour, gives McCann an easy shot. Haas 0 for 1 in his career. Off of Rondon.
One and one.
Good changeup, good location. Perfectly thrown. Just off the plate.
Two and one to Hosmer.
He's respecting Hosmer's fastball hitting ability. He's throwing a lot of changeups to him here early.
2-2.
Buchanan wants to make sure this is an important part of the game, and especially an important start for Matt Boyd. So they're going to talk this one out. What do you feel more comfortable with, a changeup or a fastball?
Got him with a pitch down. So a good start for the Royals. They get the leadoff man on for the first time all game, but Rondon gets the next 3 with 2 strikeouts. Degrees in Detroit at the moment. Tonight's copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Kansas City Royals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation. Kelvin Herrera, after 7 innings from Johnny Cueto. Cueto gave up just 2 runs. But in Matt Boyd's 7 innings, he gave up 1 run. So Herrera, Chevy call to the bullpen. He'll get Iglesias, Kinsler, and Martinez. Oh for 3, Jose Iglesias with 3 ground ball outs, all against Cueto, all to the left side of the infield.
Tigers know what they're getting from Herrera. Same thing as Rondon had that last inning for the Tigers. Fastball, mid to upper 90s. We might see some triple digits from him. Excellent changeup, 88 to 90, and occasional sliders.
In on him, and Zobrist has a play. 1 out in the bottom of the 8th. And as promised earlier in the game, we have selected the Data Strong fan photo of the game. You can tweet your strongest fan photo to hashtag KC Data Strong Fan for a chance to have it featured in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. Thank you to JT with our strong fan photo of the night.
Great shot. Aren't you beautiful? Way to go. Nice smile.
Now Kinsler gets jammed. Up the right field line, foul. Not used to seeing players blowing warm air into their hands on August the 5th, but it's very autumn-like in Detroit tonight. Temperature right now is 68 degrees. Didn't seem like a big run at the time, but Ian Kinsler in the 4th inning led off with a triple. Victor Martinez with a ground out got him home, and that's the difference. Nobody has scored since the bottom of the 4th inning. Now Zobrist into left center field. 2 down in the bottom of the 8th. You can follow live Royals baseball with MLB.com at bat on your smartphone or tablet. Stay connected to the Royals wherever you are with the MLB.TV Game of the Day. You'll get in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, and more. It's the #1 app for live baseball. MLB.com at bat. So as it stands right now, Victor Martinez has the potential game-winning RBI, and it was just a little ground out to Hosmer back in the 4th inning. Herrera jumps ahead 0-1. One and one on Victor Martinez.
Change up, away.
Ben Zobrist was busy. 3 fly balls to him in the 9th inning. Last chance for the Royals. They have Kendrys Morales. He has an RBI tonight. Mike Moustakas has a double. Salvador Perez had that big 3 RBI game last night. They're coming up. Weekdays, don't miss America's pregame as Mike and Molly bring you live reports from around the country for the latest from NFL training camps and get you ready for a full night of Major League Baseball action. Catch America's pregame every weekday at 4 p.m. on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
It's Molly McGrath. Mike Hill, way to go. like to watch them, but we're at the ballpark most of the time.
Blaine Hardy is on for the 9th inning. Hardy also pitched last night. He pitched the 8th, and it was Morales, Moustakas, and Perez. Now he had a 1-2-3 inning, but Moustakas flied out to deep center, and Perez lined to left. So it was a loud and deep 1-2-3 inning for Hardy.
He'll go 86 to 90 with his fastball, slider, curve, and a changeup. And I think Brad Osmus would rather have Morales hitting from the right side of the plate, where his power numbers aren't as good as from the left side. They've been using Alex Wilson as their closer since Soria left. Alex Wilson's the righty.
On the ground to the shortstop Iglesias. Morales is out, 1 down in the 9th inning. You remember in Toronto on Saturday when Wade Davis had his long homerless streak come to an end. 125 2/3 innings. At the time, Blaine Hardy had the second longest streak, and now it's 79 innings since he's allowed a home run.
Let's find a way to get on base, because you know Ned Yost has a nice weapon on that bench to pinch run. It's Gerard Dyson.
Two 2-0 on Moustakas. Had bad luck with the ballpark when he faced Hardy in the 8th inning last night. He flied near the warning track. Would have been a home run in a lot of other ballparks, but here with 420 to straightaway center field, Anthony Gose made the play. 2-1.
He got him a good fastball to hit there. Good short swing, just missed.
And now 3-1 with Salvador Perez next. Told you last night, Blaine Hardy came up through the Royals minor league system, but got to the big leagues with the Tigers last year, and as it turned out, he made his big league debut against the Royals. More of a power fastball slider in the Royals farm system, and then transitioned to more of a finesse lefty fastball curve with the Tigers. Hit hard to right field. Martinez is back, and he made a running play. Mike Moustakas, for the second time against Blaine Hardy, hits it right on the nose. And J.D. Martinez, not known for his defense, runs it down for the out.
That might have been the play of the game. Didn't look like he got a great jump on it, but man, he sure caught up to it. He kind of came in. This is an excellent route. He went right to it, caught it in the end of his glove, and that was a heck of a play, because you know Gerard Dyson would have been there. Now it's time for Alex Wilson. Hardy did his job.
He's gotten a lot of help from his outfielders the last 2 nights against the Royals. So now Alex Wilson only needs to get 1 out for a save. About a lot of pitching tonight. Johnny Cueto better tonight than he was in his Royals debut. He gave up just 2 runs in 7 innings, but the rookie Matt Boyd, making his Tigers debut, gave up 1 run in his 7 innings. Bruce Rondon pitched the 8th. Blaine Hardy got 2 outs in the 9th, and now it's Alex Wilson to get Salvador Perez with 2 down.
Alex Wilson, he sinks his fastball. He's got a slider, he cuts his fastball and a changeup. So he's going to mix him up a little bit. He's going to go, 93 miles an hour max. So he's not a guy that throws extremely hard, but he really does work that ball around. Sinking fastballs, that's his pitch. They're mixing some cutters.
And 1 to Sal. Hitless so far tonight. He has lined out to left, and of course last night had a huge night. 3 hits, home run, 3 RBIs. Base hit left field. Gerard Dyson grabs a helmet. Perez rounds first, and now Wilson has to deal with Gerard Dyson at first base and Alex Rios at the plate.
Dyson 18 out of 20 in his steals this year.
Rios is 1 for 3 tonight with an infield single.
We'll see how fast Alex Wilson is getting that ball home to his catcher McCann. He's throwing out 42%.
Fastball is high at 95.
I got 1.20, so that's pretty quick home. Wouldn't that be nice if he could do it again?
Dyson runs. Rios takes a strike. Throw in on a bounce. And Dyson is in scoring position with 2 down.
Yep, it's almost a do or die opportunity. And the time home, Alex Wilson was 1.23. That's a really good jump. And when you have that kind of speed, you got to be perfect with the throw. So Dyson was able to get out of the blocks quickly and get into scoring position. Nice bag. 19th on the year.
Which is now 3rd in the American League.
Find a hole. Got good arms out there. JD Martinez talked about him. He's got 12 outfield assists. Goes, throws well in the center.
Into left field. Well hit. And it just kind of flamed out. Collins runs it down. The Royals make it interesting until the very last pitch. 2 lineouts deep to the outfield. And the Tigers hang on to even the series and beat the Royals tonight 2-1. We'll be right back.